Hello friends. Today I am here to discuss annual financial statement, that is budget 2022-23, which has been presented in Parliament by Madam Finance Minister Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman ji. In this video we will also look at the economy survey 2021-22. We will see in 2022-23 where our economy is going, where we will be, what will be our GDP, what will be our nominal growth, and in the economy survey we will see what our economy were during the pandemic, pre-pandemic, and after pandemic. We will also look in this video different schemes has been introduced in the budget 2022-23. So I hope you will enjoy this video. Let us start. And one more thing, friend, to understand the budget, first try to finish your economy syllabus. Then it will be easy for you to understand the budget and economy survey. Means in the budget, the term of nominal figure, constant figure, this type of term often used in the budget. Until you will not understand that what is nominal figure, what is constant figure, what is gross value addition, then it may create some problems to you to understand the budget. Though for the understanding at this time, I tell you, nominal figure means whatever the data is being given will be on the current market price, and constant figure means base year of that data will be of 2011 and 12. Whatever the price of the commodity were in 2011 and 12, on that price that commodity will be measured at this time. That is the constant price. And nominal figure means what are the market price in current. So whatever the data, now I am going to show you during some PPT slides which were in the budget, that is GDP, growth rate, and whatever the data is on the nominal figure, means at current market price. Whenever the data will come on the constant market price, I will share the same. But now we are going to the data on the nominal figure. So let us see the data. So if we look the data in budget 22-23, the nominal GDP is 258 lakh crore. Look here, nominal GDP is for the year 2022-23 is 258 lakh crore, which was 232 lakh crore in 2021-2022. Total expenditure of the budget is 39 lakh crore, 39.5 lakh crore, which was 37.7 lakh crore in 2021-22. And capital expenditure, look here, most important part of the budget is capital expenditure, because as more as we will expand on capital, we will generate a lot of job. So last year the capital expenditure was 6 lakh crore, and this year it has been increased to 7.5 lakh crore. And perhaps you are not visible in these slides, subsidy expenditure has been decreased, is being decreased year by year. It is perhaps 3.2 lakh crore. So capital expenditure is increasing, subsidy is decreasing. And fiscal deficit. Fiscal deficit for the year 2022-23 will be of 6.4%, and it is 6.9% in 2021-22. During the pandemic, when budget was presented, it was approximately 9 point something percent, which has been brought down to 6.9%, and for the next 2022-23, it is aimed to bring it down at 6.4%. Tax to GDP of center is increasing. It was 10.86% in 2021-22, and tax to GDP has been decreased. It was 10.86% in 2021-22. Now it has been slightly decreased and is at 10.7%. So this tax to GDP, whatever tax to GDP collection is there, will be there, which center have, out of which 41% will be shared to the states in this collection. Look at one more data. One more concept has been emphasized more, and it is effective capital expenditure. For effective capital expenditure, state will be given rupees 3 lakh crore to expend on capital expenditure. For the capital expenditure, rupees 3 lakh crore. And an interesting data has been found in this budget of tax collection. If you look at the tax collection in 2022-21, that is the pre-pandemic, the tax collection was 20.1 lakh crore, and in 2021-22 the tax collection is 20.27 lakh crore, and 2021-22 is the COVID year. So during pandemic, an interesting data has been found that during pandemic tax collection has been increased. Look at very careful. In 2022-21, tax collection was 20.1 lakh crore, and in 2021-22, that is the COVID year, that is pandemic year, the tax collection has been, though it is slightly increased, but it has been increased, and it is 20.27 lakh crore. So the question is, during pandemic, during COVID year, why this tax collection has been increased? When everything was deteriorating, then why this tax collection has been increased? So let us understand this concept. So we have seen that tax collection during the pandemic year has been increased. So the question is, when everything was decreasing, GDP decreased, growth went negative, fiscal deficit increased. Increased means it deteriorated. Debt increased, export declined, most of the parameter declined, but one parameter increased, that is the tax collection. Why? Because tax collection of the government is came from the formal sector, and during the pandemic, informal activity were impacted a lot. Not formal activity were impacted, though it was also impacted, but not as comparison to the informal activity. And informal activity did not pay tax to the government, and that is why tax collection of the central government not impacted, though it has been slightly increased in the pandemic year. In this budget, or in few years, we have seen that government have borrowed a lot and invested a lot, and that is why government is saying that when government will borrow a lot and invest a lot, then crowding of private sector will enhanced. So the concept of crowd in and crowd out came. And what is this crowd in and crowd out? You will understand it. Suppose government borrowed more and invested more. And due to that investment, market rates increased. Then, obviously, private player will face some difficulty to raise money from the market because interest rate has been increased. And due to this phenomenon, private player may not invest in the economy. So, in these situations, when government is borrowing more and investing more, and due to that investment, interest rate is increasing in the market, and due to that increased interest rates, private players are not able to raise money from the market and are not being able to invest in the economy. So this is the case that private player is crowding out from the investment in the economy. So these conditions, these situations may also arise when government borrow a lot and invest a lot. Then these types of situations may also arise. But at the same time, it may be also happen that when government borrowed a lot and invest a lot, and due to that investment, more businessmen or more company get a contract of supplying for the steel, get a contract for supplying some material for the cement, get some project or contract for supplying some equipments for the machineries development. So in these situations, when government is borrowing more and investing more, a lot of opportunities are being created for the private investment investor. And due to this government's activity, private player are getting an opportunity to get contract, to get project for the supply of the steel, for the supply for the cement, for the supply for the machineries development. And these situations will be called crowd in. And government's concept is this, that government is saying when we will borrow more and invest more, then crowd in of private player will be enhanced. To understand easily this budget, I have divided this budget in 4 parts: part A, part B, part C, and part D. Now we will see part wise for our easiness. In part A, I have kept 4 priority area of the budget. In part B, we will discuss about the fiscal management. In part C, we will discuss about the direct tax. And in part D, we will discuss about the indirect tax. So first, we will see part A. And in part A, we have categorized it in 4 parts. In part A also, we have categorized it in 4 parts. And number 1 is that PM Gati Shakti. It's very important concept or a scheme. That what is PM Gati Shakti? In PM Gati Shakti, 16 ministries will be interconnected to share their work criteria, in which area they are going to work. They are creating job, like as Ministry of Railways, Ministry of Road and Transport Corporation, shipping corporations. These types of ministry will be interconnected to share their work area, and together they will work so that more and more job may be created. And under this, 25,000 kilometer of highway network will be created in 2022-23. One station, one product concept has been evolved, and development will be through PPP model, public private partnership model. 400 new generation Vande Bharat trains will be developed and manufactured during the next 3 years. To know more about Vande Bharat Express, Vande Bharat trains, you may refer the Hindu on dated 6th of February 2022, where it has elaborated very well about the Vande Bharat trains, how it will be manufactured. Second part of part A is inclusive development. In inclusive development, chemical free natural farming will be there. 2023 been announced as the International Year of the Millets. Use of Kisan drones. Kisan drones will be used for mapping of the geographical area, and it will also help to minimize the labor force. NABARD will provide loan for the development in the agriculture sector. River linking project like Ken Betwa will be started. One more important thing in inclusive development is ECLGS, Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme. Previously, it was for the year March 2022, but now it has been increased for March 2023. So now we will understand that what is this ECLGS, means Emergency Credit Line Guarantee Scheme. It was came in picture during the pandemic. Those companies who were borrowed from the banks and were not able to repay due to COVID-19 and became defaulted, that company can also approach to bank and maybe provided loan borrowings from the NBFCs or banks, and that on that additional borrowings, government will provide grantee through its a company, that is the National Credit Guarantee Trustee Company. Digital university will be created. New vibrant village program near the border area. Near the border area, the village due to sparse density and due to lack of communication there in the village, that village area has not been developed more as it should be. The government has focusing more to develop that village area, to provide connectivity, to provide internet facilities, to provide transportations. So this new vibrant village program will be implemented near the border village. 1.5 lakh post offices will be digitalized. It will be connected through internet banking, mobile banking, ATMs, etc. 75 digital banking units in 75 districts by scheduled commercial banks will be started. So this is the part of second in part A. Now third part of part A is productivity enhancement and investment, sunrise opportunities, energy transition, and climate action. Under this, issuance of e-passports will be rolled out in 2023. E-passports will be launched. Once it will be launched, we will see the details about this. Battery sweeping policy. One of the important policy has been brought in this budget is battery sweeping policy. Means there will be charging stations, and also there will be a facilities of battery sweeping. If you are going by a car which run on the battery, and in the way when your battery got discharged, you may go to the charging stations or the battery swapping point. You may give to your battery to there, and you may take charged battery from there. So this is the battery sweeping policy which has been brought in budget 2022-23, and necessary amendments in the insolvency and bankruptcy code will be carried out to enhance the efficacy of the resolution process and facilitate cross-border insolvency resolutions. Cross-border insolvency resolutions means insolvency of companies that operate in more than one country. Though the company which is operating in more than one country, for that insolvency and bankruptcy in, insolvency and bankruptcy resolutions will be created to resolve their issues. Surety bonds, concept of surety bonds has been came also. What is the concept of surety bonds? Suppose three bodies are there. One is the government, another is the company or private player, and third one is the any policy company which provide policy, suppose LIC. So if company is trying to borrow from the government or bank, then what the company will do, it will go to the policy providing company, and it will ask the company to issue a surety bond in favor of that company to raise loan from the government or from the RBI, from the bank. So suppose policy company will provide a surety bond of rupees 10 crore. Then this private player will have the surety bond of rupees 10 crore, and this surety bond will be given to the banks, and on that surety bonds banks will provide loan to the private player, and then private player will start investment in the company. And the company who will issue surety bonds, there are some criteria. To understand it, you may Google, or to understand this, you may go to Google, or we will see it later. Why this surety bond, how this surety bond will be issued. Now the next fourth parts of part A is financing of investments. Under this, sovereign green bonds for mobilizing resources for the green infrastructure will be issued. Whatever the money will be raised through these bonds, sovereign green bonds, it will be expend on for the green infrastructures. An international arbitration center will be set up in the gift city for timely settlement of disputes under international jurisprudence. Digital rupee will be issued by RBI using blockchain technology starting in 2022-23. So in view of cryptocurrencies and the interest of peoples in the digital assets, RBI is also going to issue a digital currency. It will be a currency. Whatever the currency we take in our pocket or in physical form, the same value will be of that currency in the digital form in our wallet. Once this digital rupee will be launched, we will see more details about this, but for the time being, just remember that digital currency will be launched by RBI. In 2022-23, in accordance with the recommendations of the 15th Finance Commission, the states will be allowed a fiscal deficit of 4% of GSDP, of which 0.5% will be tied to power sector reforms, 4% of GSDP. And apart from this, rupees 1 lakh crore has also been allotted for the same financial assistance to a state for capital investment. This 1 lakh crore additional to 4% will be provided to states from the central government of interest free for 50 years. and these funds can be implemented through the projects under the Gati Shakti, rural roads, digitization, and better town planning. Part B is fiscal management. We have already seen whatever the data we have seen that what will be our GDP. That is the fiscal management. In part C, we have kept the direct tax. Under this, 2 years extra time for additional tax has been provided. Means if you are applying for the income tax and due to some miscalculations you left out some income, then you will have 2 years more time to show that income and pay tax for that. Alternative minimum tax for corporates has been reduced from 18.5% to 15%, which is also the rate for the corporates. At present, central government contributes 14% of the salary of its employee to national pension system. This is allowed as a deduction in computing the income of the employee. This is 14% for the central government employee, and it was 10% for the state government employee. Means whatever your salary is, government provided 14% of that in national pension system, and this will be deducted while you will file income tax. This 14% will be deducted from that, and now this percentage was 10% for the state, and now it has been increased to 14% also for the state. Startups established before 31st March 2023 will be eligible for tax incentive for 3 years, 3 consecutive years out of 10 years from the year of incorporations. So any startups which will be started before 31st March 2023, earlier this date was 31st March 2022. Now it has been increased for the time 31st March 2023, and before that when startups established, then it will be eligible for tax incentive for 3 consecutive years out of 10 years from the year of incorporations. Newly incorporated manufacturing companies which will start production before 31st March 2024. Previously this date was before 31st March 2023. Now it has been increased before 31st March 2024. Manufacturing companies. For startups, the date is before 31st March 2023, and for newly incorporated manufacturing companies which will start production before 31st March 2024 will have to pay a concessional tax of 15%. And one more interesting concept is 30% on digital assets. Government imposed 30% tax on digital assets. Digital assets means cryptocurrencies, bitcoins. If you will purchase, then you will have to pay 30% as a tax to the government of India. When this tax system was announced, then a lot of economists or a lot of persons were telling that now cryptocurrency has been legalized in India, but no. Madam Finance Minister have clarified that imposing tax on digital assets, it doesn't mean that we are legalizing cryptocurrencies in India. Legalization will be discussed later. But if you will, for the time being, if you will purchase digital assets, and cryptocurrency is a currency, not a cryptocurrency is an assets, not a currency. Cryptocurrency is an assets like gold, silver. Gold is an assets, silver is an assets, and in the same way, cryptocurrency is an assets, not a currency. So if you will purchase the crypto assets or cryptocurrency, that is assets, you will have to pay the tax to the government 30%. Currency means, what are the difference between currency and assets? Suppose you travel and you pay to auto driver currency, then he is legally bound to take the currency because it is a legal tender. But asset is not a legal tender. If he will provide auto driver the gold or silver, then he may refuse to take it, accept it, because it is not a legal tender. This is not a currency. In the same way, this cryptocurrency is not a currency. It is a digital assets. So if you will purchase cryptocurrency, you will have to pay tax of 30%. 1% TDS. Suppose anyone is transferring you 100 cryptocurrency or we can say 100 crypto assets, then 1% of that assets will be deducted for the TDS. Means 99 will be transferred to you, 1% will goes to the government. And on gift, if suppose someone is gifting you cryptocurrency or crypto assets, this is assets, not a currency. Suppose someone is gifting you cryptocurrency, then the recipient's persons who is receiving the gift will have to pay 30% on the received gifts. So gift also has been gift of digital assets also has been brought in purview of the 30% tax. And last part D is indirect tax. Under this, custom duty rationalization simplification has been proposed. To incentivize exports, custom duties exemptions are being provided on imports of inputs. To encourage the efforts for blending of fuel, unblended fuel shall attract an additional differential excise duty of rupees 2 per litre from the first day of October 2022. Once it will be imposed in October 2022, you will see the details. Now so many things are also there in the budget. We don't have to go in the depth. We don't have to mug us with more data. This is enough for our understanding. Now we will see the economic survey of 2021 and 2022. So now we will see the economic survey 2021-22, and in that chapter 1, state of the economy. At constant price, I have already told you that when we were seeing the budget, it was on the nominal figure, that is the current market price. Now the data which we are going to see in the economy survey is at the constant price, means the base year will be of 2011 and 12. In 2021-22, the GDP was 147.5 lakh crore, and in 2022-21 it was 135 lakh crore. In 2019-20 it was 145.7 lakh crore. So this year you have to labor some more, because if you have to go for the comparison of the data, you will have to compare it not only with the 2021-22 and 2020-21, but also we have to compare it with the data 2019 and 20, because the year 2019-20 is pre-pandemic and 2020 and 21 is COVID year, and 2021-22 is present year. So what our economy, what our data was in pre-pandemic year, what our data was in COVID year, and what it is in present year. Because in COVID year a lot of data, everything was decreased. So if you have to compare it, then you will have to compare with both the year 2019-20 and 2020-21. So if you will see the GDP in present year, that is 2021-22, it is 147.5 lakh crore, which was in pre-pandemic, when pandemic were not in, it was 145.7 lakh crore. it has increased from 145.7 lakh crore to 147.5 lakh crore. Now see the national income. It was 126.8 lakh crore in 2019-20 before pandemic. It has also been increased to 128.6 lakh crore in 2021-22. But per capita GDP, which was 1.09 lakh in 2019-20 before pandemic, which has now been decreased to 1.08 lakh. Though it is slightly decreased, but it has been decreased. See, GDP has been increased, national income has been increased, but per capita GDP has been decreased. Again, see per capita national income has been increased, but per capita national income, if you look, it is 94,500 in pre-pandemic and 94,000 in present year, that is 2021-22. It has also been decreased. Why? GDP has been increased, national income has been increased, but per capita GDP has been decreased, per capita national income has been decreased. Why? Because in 2019-20 the population was 134 crore, but in 2021-22 the population has been increased by 137 crore. So if you will calculate this, then we will see that one GDP, if you will calculate the per capita GDP, then GDP of 2021-22, that is 147.5 divided by 137, then we will get that this data 1.08 lakh. So due to increase in the population, per capita GDP has been decreased. Due to increase in the population, per capita national income has been decreased. Maybe some other factors also, that job has been decreased, employment has been decreased. This factor may also be factor for this, may cause for this. But this is also one reason that our population growth has been increased, and due to which that per capita GDP has been decreased, per capita national income has been decreased. So tomorrow if the question will come that GDP increased, yes, GDP increased. National income increased, yes, it increased. Per capita GDP increased, no, it decreased. Per capita national income increased, no, per capita national income decreased. Now we see annual growth of GVA at constant price. The annual growth of agriculture and allied sectors has been grew by 7.7% in comparison or recovery over the 2019-20. Means suppose in 2019-20 before the pandemic, 2019-20 before the pandemic, suppose it was 100, then now it is 100.7, that is 7.7% has been increased in 2021-22. Industry, it has also been increased by 4.1%. But the services, look at here, it is the important sector. Services has been decreased by 0.8%, and it is the matter of concern because more people belongs to this sector, service sector, and it has been impacted a lot. Now if you will see, the share of sectors is nominal means current market price. Agriculture and allied sectors, it was 18.4% in 2019-20 before pandemic. in 2021-22 it is 18.8. From 18.4 it has increased to 18.4. Slightly it has been increased, but it had been increased. Share of industry sectors, it was 26.7 in 2019-20. Now it is 28.2. It has been increased. But again in services, where 60% people belongs to these sectors, it was 55%. 55% share of services were there in nominal GVA in 2019-20. Now it has been decreased to 53. It is a matter of concern. Now we will see annual real growth in demand side of GDP and its components in percentage of demand side. So demand side have four factors. Who demands? Household demands, private sector demands, government sector demands, and export. Household means private sector. If you look the data, total consumptions were 19.2. It has been decreased. Suppose in 2019-20 it was 100, then now it is 19.2, means it has been decreased. Total consumption has been decreased, means demand has been decreased. Total consumptions, in total consumptions we take government consumption and private consumption. Although we can see that government consumption has been increased, it is 110.7, means government have invested a lot and purchased a lot. For whom? It have purchased, and what government what have consumed? Wheat, rice, pulses, grams. It has purchased from the market and it has provided on subsidy to the poor people. So government have consumed a lot. Government consumption has been increased 10.7%, but private consumption, it is 97.1, which is decreased. Suppose it was 100 in 2000 pre-pandemic 2019-20. Now present year it is 97.1. It means it has been decreased. So demand in the economy has been decreased, and it is the matter of concern because 60% demand are here. Gross fixed capital formation means government consumption plus private consumption. So we look, it is 102.6. It has been increased because if we will add these two, then obviously it will be increased. But the concern is here at private consumption. It has been decreased, and for that opposition party were demanding that put some money in the poor pocket so that demand in the economy can grow. But at the same time government was saying that we were facing during the pandemic a huge fiscal deficit, approximately 9.8% near about. And in this huge fiscal deficit, whether it is possible to put some pocket in the poor people, and how much money should be put it and for what time. So government decided that it is not sustainable for the long time, and government decided for the capital expenditure. And perhaps the election is far away, it is in 2024, so government have time to invest in the capital expenditure and to create more job. So let us see what's happening in the future in these 2 years. But government is arguing that rather than putting some money in the poor pocket, we will invest more in the capital expenditure and we will create job, and it will be sustainable for all. In the economic survey, government have told that we have started a barbell strategy, a new concept. What is this barbell strategy? Barbell strategy means, suppose a rope has two ends. Suppose a rope has two ends. At the one end, waterfall strategy framework will be implemented at the one end, agile framework will be implemented. Waterfall framework means for the long term risk handling, for the long term risk handling policy will be implemented, and for the short period of time we will take feedback for recovery in the economy, and we will keep changing our policy from time to time to tackle the current situations. So both strategy has been adopted for a big plan, a long term, for long term waterfall strategy, waterfall framework has been adopted. A long term policy will be created to risk for the risk handling, and for the short term it will take feedback to recover the economy, and time to time it will keep changing accordingly. Now in chapter 2 it is fiscal development. GST collection is increasing. In 2017-18 it was 0.90 lakh crore. In 18-19 it was 0.98 lakh crore. In 2019-20 it was 1.01 lakh crore GST collection. In 2020 and 2021 it was 1.08 lakh crore. And in 2021-22 till December it was 1.19 lakh crore. So GST collection has been increased in few past year. Now we will see the composition of various tax. Means whatever the tax collection we have, from which sector we have collected how much. From GST, through GST we have collected 29%, corporate and income tax 25% each. Through custom we have collected 6%, and through union excise duties we have collected 15%. Debt position of the central government is 117.04 lakh crore at the end of March 2021, and this is the area we can look at once, that internal debt is how much in, and the all data is in lakh crore. External debt is this much, public account other liabilities is this much, extra budgetary resources is this much. So total of 117.0 lakh crore at the end of March 2021 is the debt position of the central government. Now look at the debt to GDP ratio. NKC committee says that central government debt should be 40% of GDP and the state government should be of 20%, and total debt should be of 60%. Look at current situations. In 2018-19 central government debt was 45.7%. Government was trying to bring it down to 40%, but in 2019-20 it increased to 49.1%, and in 2020-21 during the pandemic year it increased to 59.3% of central government, and a state in 2020-21 increased to 31.2%. Total if you will add it is 90.5% in 2021. So NKC committee says the general debt should be 60%, out of which 40% of central government and the state government 20%, but now it is 90.5%, out of which 59.3% of central government and 31.2% of state government. Central government deficit is 6.9%, state government deficit is 3.7%. Remember this data. So general deficit is approximately 10.6%. Now in chapter 3, external sector, top 10 export destination in 2021-22. Just have a look on the data. USA 18.4%, to UAE 6.6%, to China 5.9%, to Bangladesh 3.5%, to Hong Kong 2.8%. It was our export destination in 2021-22. Top 10 import source in 2021, where from we imported more in 2022, 2021, 22. From China, we imported more. Then UAE, then from USA, then from Saudi Arabia. This is the 10 countries from we imported more in 2021, 2022. India's net IIP, international investment position. International investment positions means what foreigners own property in India and what Indian owned property in abroad. It is minus 11.3%. IIP is minus 11.3%. Means whatever property our Indians have owned in foreign, it is less than the foreigners have owned property in India, and it is 11.3% less. Now it is slowly it is increasing. We are seeing some improvement is this in this. Now chapter 4, monetary management and financial intermediation. NBFC's credit to GDP ratio is 13.7%. It is increasing. In 2019 it was 12.2%. In 2020 it is 12.1%, but in 2021 it has credited more and it is now 13.7%. So we should thanks to NBFCs because it have credited more. What happened in the COVID situations? During COVID, during pandemic, liquidity crisis created in the economy. To come out from the liquidity crisis, government Reserve Bank of India infused more liquidity in the market. They provided money to the bank in different modes, but banks were not willing to lend money in the market because of the pandemic, because of the uncertainty in the market. And at that time RBI were decreasing reverse repo rate. Banks were not willing to lend so much money in the market and were willing to park their money with the RBI on the decreased reverse repo rate. And in view of this, if you will see, NBFC has credited more. And this is the sectoral distribution of the NBFC. It has credited 40% to the industry, 28.6% to the retail loans, 12.3% to the services, 17.7% to other non-food credit, and 1.4% to agriculture and allied activities. So we should thanks to the NBFCs because during COVID, when scheduled commercial banks were demotivated to, were not willing to lend money in the market, at that time NBFCs credited more, and it is good for the economy. Next chapter is chapter 5, price and inflation. CPI, WPI. CPI is in somehow in control under perhaps 5.3%, which is under the 6.6%. WPI has been increased. Government is trying to tackle to curb down WPI also. Let us see what is happening. So this much in these videos in the budget and the economy survey. Thank you for listening me patiently. If there are any mistakes, I am sorry for that. Thank you.